What up? Lawyer here, back for another episode of 5 Rounds with Lawyer and the Fed. Again, the Fed will not be appearing on this episode, but I got someone tremendous standing in his place. Another former UFC champion for back-to-back weeks. And without further ado, I'm just going to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, the former UFC heavyweight champion of the world, Tim the Maniac Sylvia. What up, Tim? Why don't you say hello to the audience?
Hey, what's up, guys? And everybody watching and listening, Lawyer and Fredman, thanks. I kind of like this platform, how you guys request questions and go from here. It's pretty cool. First one I've done, but hopefully it goes well.
Thanks, Tim. Of course it's going to go well, Tim. So you guys know the format. 5 questions, 5 rounds. Let's get right into it. 5 rounds. So, you made your way back into headlines recently with your voicing your displeasure with the UFC refusing to pay for a surgery stemming from that injury against Frank Mir, I believe in 2004 when your arm got broken. So, the first question I want to ask is, why are they refusing to pay? 5 rounds. Round 1!
I couldn't tell you why. Dana White's a douchebag. He'd rather just spend his money on hookers and whores and at the craps table, I guess, than help out a former UFC heavyweight champion where my arm got broken in the cage, and they paid for the first surgery, and we contacted him a couple years ago saying that there's a possible chance we're going to need these plates removed. It was kind of bothering me then, and the doctor's office reached out to UFC, and they said, no, Tim doesn't fight for us anymore. We're not responsible for it. And then, the last 6 months it's gotten really bad, and I found out that I just need to have him out no matter what. I'm like a dumbass. I don't have surgery. Insurance, that's my fault, and I was kind of just holding off because my fiance is a nurse and she has insurance, and then we were just going to get married, obviously, and I was going to be under hers. But the shit happened, and we're at where we're at right now, and I had to have it done, and a lot of the fans were talking about a GoFundMe and stuff like that, so my fiance started one, and fortunately for me, the fans took care of it, man. So hat goes off to you guys, man. I appreciate it. I did not want that burden. It would have took away my savings account if I had to pay for it all myself. So thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it.
Oh, shit! Timmy dropping bombs, son! He said it right here on 5 rounds. Dana'd rather spend his money on hookers and whores.
Dana White's a douchebag. He'd rather just spend his money on hookers and whores and at the craps table, I guess, than help out a former UFC heavyweight champion.
He said Dana'd rather spend the money on hookies and hooas than to help him with his surgery. So, I'm sorry, but Dana, you're coming off like a scumbag on this one. So, for question 2, so with that being said, though, did you see some crazy spending sprees by Dana White out in Vegas and all over the world? What did that look like in those days? 5 rounds. Ragu!
You also believe Dana White's a scumbag? Yeah, he is. He's a piece of shit. They asked him about it at a press conference. He acted like he knew nothing about it, but obviously he did because of his smart-ass comments. But, I've seen Dana White spend money, thousands of dollars in strip clubs before, at craps tables, throwing, me and Matt Hughes some $100 bills just to play with him at the blackjack table and stuff. It's just ridiculous, the money they make.
Yeah, that is some scandalous shit. Sounds like you had some good times, though, at least. So, for round 3, I want to ask you how you feel about the recent holdouts by some of the UFC's elite, including Jones, Conor, Masvidal. Seems like they're holding out for more money. So I want to know your opinion on that. And I want to know, do you wish that you had pushed harder for better purses back when you were champ? 5 rounds. Round Trinity.
I love the Jones and Conor McGregor and the Mazadov, man. You guys are holding out for money, and you guys should, man. It's obvious how much money the UFC makes and what the percentages wise, what the fighters are getting. It's just ridiculous. And I hope it works, man. I hope some of the bigger names, bigger heavy hitters get what they deserve. There's no doubt about it. I helped pave the way, and we were underpaid back then. And it is what it is. The sad part is I enjoyed fighting so much. Getting paid was a bonus. But now that I'm retired and old and have a family, obviously I wish things were different. And we capitalized a little better on it, and the pay was a little better. But it is what it is. I love the sport still, and I still have a lot of favorites fighting and personal friends. So I'll always be watching UFC no matter what, or MMA in general. Bellator is a great gig too. So.
Oh, yeah, man. It's an amazing sport at the end of the day. There's nothing else like it. For real. For the fourth question, I want to ask you, in all your years in the fight game, and I'm talking in training and fighting and just moving about the world, who is the baddest motherfucker that you ever came across, period? Bar none. Who is the baddest one out of everyone you ever met? I want to know. 5 rounds. Round 4.
Who's the baddest mother effer that I ever come across? I always thought I was one of the baddest ones ever, and then I trained with Stipe Miocic before he became heavyweight champ, and that was a reality check to me. That's when I realized I no longer had a shot of being a UFC champion when him and I trained together for a couple weeks. I was helping him get ready for Stefan Struve, and he was helping me get ready for Paul Bontello, I think. But man, that guy wore on me, took me down. I couldn't get back up, held me down, and just grounded and pounded the shit out of me. And after that experience, I was telling, everyone was like, I was doing interviews still and stuff, MMA Weekly and stuff, and they were like, man, who's the next big thing? And I'm like, I'm telling you, Stipe Miocic is going to be the next heavyweight champion. And Stefan Struve got lucky. He slipped on the canvas, and Stipe looked down, and Stefan smoked him. And, heavyweights, when we hit high, and that's just the way it is. So definitely, he's definitely a true badass. And Couture, been one of my idols for a long time, trained together for a long time, but he's still a stud in my eyes. And Fedor, obviously, he was a badass as well.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Super interesting to hear you say Stipe, because, Stipe is special, and I didn't believe he was, I didn't believe he was anything special till he had boxed up Roy Nelson, a few years back. And I knew Roy's strength was his boxing, and he was tough and durable as hell, and I thought he would hand Stipe his ass on the feet, at least in, the boxing range, and Stipe just picked him apart. He was floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. He looked great. And then he came out and had that 5-round war with Junior Dos Santos right after Junior had just, came fresh off his title run. He had just lost the cane for that first time. And JDS was still JDS in his absolute fucking peak. And those two had an amazing fight back and forth. Honestly, I think it's one of the overlooked fights for the ages. Great fight between those two. So even though Stipe lost, I believe, a majority decision, the fight was super close, and it really helped announce to the world that he'd arrived as an absolute elite fucking monster in the UFC heavyweight division. I think he proved to himself in a lot of ways that he belonged with that fight with Junior Dos Santos. Okay, so for the final question, and I don't want you to get mad at me on this one for asking, Timmy, but I gotta do it for 5 rounds. Did you really shit your pants in the Octagon during a fight? 5 rounds. Round 5.
No, I'm not gonna get mad about you asking me if I actually pooped my pants in the Octagon. When I was getting ready for a Spike show, Oswego Silver, I came down with a sickness, and it was a quick virus, but I got sick the day before the fight, and I was throwing up. And the day of the fight, I'm in my locker room, and I have diarrhea. I'm on the toilet. I turned white. My corners did not want me to fight. They're like, dude, you need to pull out. I'm like, I can't pull out, man. This is for a title shot. I can't pull out. I got to fight. And so I went out there and fought. And, I shit myself. It happened. It was during the fight. It is what it is. But I kept fighting, and I won the decision. So I would do it all over again. I just loved the fight, and I wasn't going to let a stupid sickness stop that. Luckily, I won the fight. It would have been even worse if I had lost, and then it is what it is. But yeah, shit happens.
That was great, Tim. That was awesome, man. Thank you for being so honest about everything I asked you today. I want to thank you. It was an honor having you on the show today. Lawyer in the Fed, 5 rounds. You represent you represented yourself great, and you know, you're a really cool, interesting guy, and will always be a former heavyweight champion of the world. So you always will be one of the baddest motherfuckers. So I want to thank you for being on the show. Yeah, but that really was great, Tim. I want to thank you. It's been an honor. Is there anything else you want to say?
I just want to plug you guys, 5 Rounds the Lawyer and Fred on YouTube. Thanks for asking these questions. I appreciate it, and hope you guys take care.
Nice. Tim Sylvia, everyone. That was great. He said Dana would rather spend his money on hookers and hooas. Oh, man, that's a fucking quotable. That's some clickbait right there. But, all right, so next week we're going to have the Fed back, and we're going to continue the trend. Once again, next week, we're going to have another former UFC champion of the world, and this one is also a UFC Hall of Famer, making his appearance next week on Lawyer and the Fed. 5 rounds. Should be a great one. All right, guys. Signing out till next time. This is the Lawyer, and this is the Lawyer and the Fed. 5 rounds. Peace.